This is a Fox 10 News Alert.
Welcome everyone here to News Now. Sky Fox in California showing you once again another police chase happening, and you're taking a live look right now. We have Pilar Arias as well. She'll be handling it for you on fox10phoenix.com.
Yeah, hello everyone. So we are hearing that it's a reckless driver. So that's what Sky Fox is over right now, and it definitely looks like this is in Compton, California. It's on a freeway. It's currently the same time as us there in California. So coming up on the noon lunch hour, lots of people going to be hitting the roadways. And look, whoever this is just picking up speed on this highway, making some reckless maneuvers here. It looks like they could be getting off though, but they're tailing pretty closely to that vehicle right in front of them.
All right, so if you want to see just how this is all going to end up, we invite you to come on over to fox10phoenix.com. We will be streaming this in its entirety. We are hoping for the very best for all police and other people involved in this chase. Thank you so much for joining us here on News Now.
All right, everybody, good afternoon. Pilar Arias here with Fox News Now, which is a part of fox10phoenix.com. I'm just getting onto the set for the day for my portion of News Now. Again, we have learned that this is in Compton, California. We did just get a little bit more information about the man behind the wheel. That's right, we're being told it is a man. We are hearing that he could be in the 40-year range and that this is a Ford Focus that they are following here. So again, I'm trying to pull up a little bit of information that I've just been given, but this is our sister station, Fox 11 Los Angeles. This is Sky Fox over the scene. Turns out this started about almost 25-30 minutes ago. We are hearing, again, it's a man who's driving, possibly 40 years old, in that gray Ford Focus. It looks like it could be either gray or black in color. We do know that this started on surface streets, and then he entered the 710, briefly exited again on Alondra or Alondra. If you're from Southern California, please correct me on the YouTube chat. Reckless driver going up to 50 miles per hour on the surface streets, doing circles and intersections, going the wrong way in lanes. So again, I'm working to get you some more information here. I do believe that Fox 11 LA is on Facebook with this, and they are more familiar with the area. So if I can get any commentary from them, I'll bring it to you right here on News Now, which is part of fox10phoenix.com.
Some of those sheriff cruisers behind this vehicle, just keeping a safe distance.
Well, that's true, and that's what they will do. But as long as we got an air unit overhead, and also the media coordinates with the different helicopters that are overhead, they all coordinate the sky as well as what we need to do on the ground. So they all work together to try and come up with a solution to this. This particular individual, the suspect, is driving extremely hazardous, making those wild lane changes into the carpool lane to the right shoulder. They've got to be wanted for something more than reckless driving. You don't normally drive in this pattern, if you just wanted for a traffic stop. So it could be a robbery, it could be any kind of very serious crime. When they try to elude in this manner at these speeds and at this reckless pattern, they're obviously wanted for something more than just speeding down the street or going to a stop sign. So it may be an ex-con, doesn't want to go back to prison, all kinds of possibilities, but extremely fast, extremely hazardous. And thank goodness at this point we haven't had any incidents, but the Sheriff's Department, the California Patrol, if they haven't engaged yet, they will engage. Normal procedure is they will then take over, and the agency that initiated the pursuit will remain with the pursuit, but the primary will then take over, and this would not be uncommon for the CHP to take over this particular chase.
If you're just joining us now, this is the Fox 11 News at noon, and right now we're currently watching a pursuit that started 11:25 this morning in a gray Ford Focus. Right now, allegedly, it's roughly a man who's in his 40s, a Hispanic male, but we're seeing him go on the 105, and he's getting off there on the side, and we're right now speaking to Dennis Ein of the Sheriff's Department here. You know, if you're driving and you're on the phone with someone and you say there's a pursuit, what do you do as a driver and you see this behind you?
Just get out of the way. The bottom line is get out of the way, avoid, let this person proceed, let the authorities do what they need to do. You don't want to play John Wayne, get involved, cut off the car, try to play John Wayne. That's the last thing you want to do. You want to safeguard yourself, your vehicle. You want to go home at night safe and all in one piece. But this particular individual is definitely wanted for something more serious than traffic violation.
It looks like at this point we're hearing that possibly DWI, reckless driving, and now we see the driver once again getting off of the freeway and onto surface streets. We believe this is the South LA, it's Hawthorne, the Hawthorne area. This, Dennis, is where it gets particularly dangerous now, and especially if we're dealing with the DWI. And there we see through an intersection again against a red light, just making a crazy left turn now. And you know, sometimes when we see chases like this, it's often the driver ends up going back to the neighborhood they know, back to a place they know. But in this case, it almost seems like this person is just wildly going to wherever he can go.
Exactly, and we saw one recently ended up in Pasadena where a utility truck broadsided a lady apparently on her way home. She was in this car trapped. We remember that. All kinds of situations take place, especially at these high-speed pursuits, especially when you're on a service street. You got bicycles, you got pedestrians, you got cross streets. At least on a freeway, you don't have that interference, but on a surface street, it becomes much more intense, much more of a hazard to the general public. Here you're on the wrong side of the road. This individual is definitely hot to get away, and fortunately we got air units overhead, and those ground units will do what they can with the local agency. This particular case, I believe we're in Hawthorne.
So Dennis, I just want to point out again, because the LA County Sheriff's just tweeted out a few seconds ago saying, out of an abundance of caution, the LA Sheriff's Department has discontinued the pursuit and has initiated surveillance mode and aerial surveillance for the safety of the public and everyone in the affected area. Saving lives is priority number one, and so they're making that determination right now, although
but we do see
it's still a danger to the public just the way this person is driving.
Well, what they'll go into is a tracking mode. Normally, they don't totally discontinue the pursuit, but they will cut off the red light siren and they will follow in a safe distance. We've got other units in that. This particular case, I believe we're in the city of Hawthorne, where you may have Hawthorne PD now involved. The suspect was on the freeway, off the freeway. So, through the abundance of caution, they don't want to get anyone hurt. They don't want to have harm, damage to the general public. This particular suspect, in my opinion, from my experience, is wanted for more than just a traffic violation. And DUI, you normally don't drive in this manner if you're driving an influenced individual.
Well, as you can see there, we do see at the bottom of our screen, we're speculating it's Hawthorne PD who are in pursuit of them. In this kind of situation, they've already used a spike strip. What's usually protocol now? Because they're getting closer and closer behind. Before we saw really a surveillance mode. Now we're seeing them come up really quickly and behind the suspect.
Well, see, you have a Sheriff's Department initiated pursuit, and then it's on the freeway, which would be CHP, and now you're in the city of Hawthorne, which Hawthorne jurisdiction. So you got different agencies, different policies, different rules. I don't see the lights flashing on those police vehicles, so they may be following at a safe distance. There may be sheriff's vehicles that have discontinued the high-speed pursuit with the red light and siren and following. Again, with the air unit overhead, air unit will keep surveillance, notify the ground unit. So when you got multiple agencies, they all have different rules. The bottom line is, whatever agency it is, safeguard of the general public, number one priority. Safeguarding the public, not having a hazard to the public.
By the way, in case you're wondering, we do have we're keeping a distance here, and we have a far shot because we're obviously near the LAX area and inside the flight path, and because of that, we have to stay out of the flight path, and so we're using our lenses to try and get a closer look at this and follow this pursuit. So that's the reason why we're just a little far off from this pursuit there. But as soon as this pursuit moves into a different area and not in the flight path, we'll be able to get a better look at what's happening there. But again, this they're they're saying it's not a pursuit, although it is a following from the LA County Sheriff's Department, the main jurisdiction now for this pursuit, and it's gone through the South LA area now. A reckless driver, possibly DWI, going through freeways. We've seen potentially the 91, the 110, the 105, all throughout southeast Los Angeles County and now through South LA as police continue to follow this reckless driver, possible DWI suspect that started around 11:30 this morning. Go ahead, Dennis.
Megan's concerned about public safety. Obviously, paramount is the safety of the general public, pedestrians, bicycles. When you're on a surface street, you got all those hazards that come encounter. So I can understand why the Sheriff's Department, because of the reckless manner this individual was driving, would back off. But then again, what is Hawthorne's policy? What are they going to do? No one wants to harm the general public, but at the same time, we see those vehicles that are following, a number of police vehicles, black and whites, that are following apparently in a safe distance, not code 3, not red light and siren. Hopefully the suspect will slow down because they don't feel the pressure from the pursuing units. But nevertheless, they're right there along with their units. So they want to get this person in custody as quickly and safely as possible.
Well, Dennis, as you can see here, there's a lot more pursuit behind him. It's picked up a little bit and a lot more. He's on La Brea Avenue right now, and we're watching it as it goes, but it seems wide open here. But as you can see behind him, a trail. And we can't make out if the lights are on, but they're on it. There's a lot of action behind him.
Yeah, they're definitely chasing him. Some of those units are becoming more aggressive. The one that's behind right now, I don't see lights flashing, but there's definitely an individual like this you don't want to let go, because if they've gotten away with it now, what are they going to do next time? Mm-hmm. We've got maybe half a dozen or so police vehicles in a caravan, so they are following the spike strip. You mentioned the spike strip. If it didn't activate, and you're not going to be able to do a spike strip at high speeds, and you can't do it on a freeway for the most part. So right now they're really limited to what they can do to follow this individual as this pursuit continues, and hopefully won't end up with a crash as we've seen in other pursuits, especially.
We're looking at westbound Manchester Boulevard in the Inglewood area, and now we know that this driver is driving at a fast rate of speed. It doesn't appear that any kind of a pulling back and going into a surveillance or a tracking mode is slowing this driver, still driving at a very high rate of speed. And now, I mean, it's safe to say this is a pursuit. I mean, the black and whites are not very far at all from this driver, and the driver is still driving in a very unsafe manner, Dennis.
Absolutely, but it doesn't appear that they have the red lights flashing. I can't see that. But
well, now apparently the CHP is taking over, and it's considered officially a pursuit. So what does that mean?
Well, the CHP, they have the jurisdiction throughout the state of California. They can take over in any jurisdiction. They're very aggressive with getting these individuals into custody. They've got a good track record on that, so it wouldn't be surprising if the CHP then becomes the lead agency, since this individual was on the freeway, Surface Street, back and forth. So that would not surprise me if that's the case. But there will be local jurisdiction in addition, and I wish I could see the side of those cars. They're all black and whites, but to see the logo, what agency they're with.
Yeah, perhaps it is
gets a better view.
Perhaps it is a CHP.
They're coming in fast now.
It looks like they are pursuing this vehicle now pretty closely here. At last check, we were on Manchester Boulevard at Oak, and that driver continues to go on and not stopping. Again, starting at around 11:30 this morning, so just over a half hour ago in the Lakewood area, and there you see the driver. Lots of cars there stopped completely, and the driver simply just driving around them on the wrong side of the road and continues to move forward.
Bobby, is that can you notice there's the CHP logo on the side of that lead car, that Explorer?
You know, I can't.
It's hard to see for us too, my friend. We're looking here and trying to make out, but now if it can get in, but they just panned out again. But let's bring everyone up to speed. This started at 11:25 this morning. 40-year-old possible Hispanic male driving on reckless driving charges, possibility DUI. And as we said, the CHP has taken over now, and it's considered a pursuit, and they are coming in much faster to get this individual.
Yeah. It almost appears as if, Dennis, if I can see that it is a CHP that is in pursuit of this. But at any point, it is a police officer or some sort of a jurisdiction that continues to follow this. It simply doesn't matter who's chasing at this point.
Well, when the Sheriff's Department starts the pursuit and they back off, another jurisdiction takes over, and the CHP does have that authority. They then supersede that order to say discontinue. It would discontinue for the Sheriff's Department, not for other agencies, and that's what I think happening in this particular situation. The CHP is now taken over, and they're going to pursue. They have a different pursuit policy. Again, no one wants to see anyone hurt, but the fact is, in this particular case, I think he's slowing down with the caravan of cars behind. Hopefully take him into custody quickly as he comes to it. Looks like he might be coming to a stop. Definitely slowing down.
Okay, right now the driver is on Sepulveda Boulevard. As we said, the CHP has taken over. They're in close pursuit. This has taken over almost to an hour here of this individual who's been, under reckless driving is the assumption right now. But right now, what is the protocol? Like when you say they activate, what does that mean when they activate?
Well, they activate the emergency equipment, they activate the pursuit, they notify other units in the vicinity, they notify the local jurisdiction. In this particular case now, if they're in Los Santos jurisdiction, notify the LAPD, but the CHP will maintain lead of this particular pursuit. Other agencies will assist any way possible, but the driving pattern of this individual doesn't appear to be DUI. He's driving at the high speeds, driving in a straight fashion, going through those lights, etc. It's not indicative of an intoxicated driver. So this individual, it would not surprise me if they wanted for something other than this particular situation of reckless driving on the roads of California. So it may be, robbery, burglary, it could be anything under the sun, but they're driving a very aggressive, and now you see slowing down again. But again, the caravan of police vehicles, CHP vehicles, again, behind this individual, keeping a close proximity. They want to stop this person as soon as possible. And again, at this particular speed, they could use a spike strip, but they have to, again, pre-deploy to get that spike strip.
Well, he's going in front right now. That you can see they're jockeying with each other a little bit on the side there.
There's almost an attempt to do a pit maneuver here, but obviously the driver there sees that the cruiser is right behind him and continues to speed up, so now it turns into an unsafe speed and also an unsafe situation for that officer to try and do a pit maneuver.
And pit maneuver, you have to be in the 30, 35 an hour. You're not going to be able to do it at a high speed. You don't want to flip the car. Again, if this is a stolen car, you don't want to damage the car to the rightful owner of that vehicle. So there's a lot of factors that the officers have to consider when they're in these high-speed pursuits. I know from the experience that I've had in the past, you want to safeguard the public as well as apprehend the individual. So the lead CHP vehicle right now is definitely getting in place to do some action.
I don't think we can tell from the video here, but we're also hearing that one of the tires may have been blown out. So perhaps that happened earlier during a spike strip, or just by the erratic driving of the driver and simply one of the tires has blown out. But it doesn't seem to be slowing the driver at all. It's still driving on 3 good wheels and 1 bad wheel.
That's tough to do, yeah. I would say.
Well, we've seen them sparking when they lose the tires and they continue driving on the rim, and you see the sparks and they continue to go. Again, if it's not their car, the suspect's car, they don't really care the damage to the vehicle. But this case, he is driving continuous, and the CHP is clearly right on his tail, or her tail, the suspect.
You can actually see, if you look at the
front left tire.
The front left tire is down to the rim.
Yep.
You don't see any sparks at all, but
well, it looks like they're
continues to drive here. Yeah. Almost appears there could be a little bit of smoke come from that front wheel, but now this driver driving on just 3 wheels and continues to drive at a very fast clip here. The CHP pursuing right behind him, and there appears to have been some attempts to try and do some kind of a pit maneuver, but
there you go.
Yeah, the driver just keeps going.
Well, we're trying to figure out exactly where we are right now too, because we've been taken all over, from Inglewood
area
and westbound in Playa Vista. Now he's in the South Bay, so he's going over in the area Playa Vista over on Jefferson Boulevard, as you can see there. But
well, now you're on the verge of Culver City.
Yep.
Because it comes into that area. But without the 4 tires, you're only going to go so far on that rim.
So it's a waiting game is what you're saying.
Yes, it's difficult to steer when you're only on 3 tires also. It's very difficult to make those turning movements. But if it's not your car, then you don't care what happens to it. But the lead CHP vehicle is clearly in close proximity to either do a pit maneuver or something. But since the car's not going to be able to go that much farther on the 3 tires and 1 rim, that rim will get down to.
Well, now you're watching again this CHP cruiser trying to speed up and get close enough to the rear of this vehicle in that right quarter panel so that it could try and attempt a pit maneuver. But once again, this driver speeds up. 35 miles per hour. Is that the limit, the top speed, Dennis, where it's a safe speed to do a pit maneuver?
Well, in the 30, 35 range, you don't want to go excess of that. You don't want to go to 40, 50. You want to maintain control of your vehicle as well as the suspect's vehicle. So the pit maneuver, the officers are trained how to do that in a proper fashion so you don't get hurt. You can put that car out of service. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But you want to make sure that there's no pedestrians, there's no parked vehicles going to get collided with. So,
we almost had it right there, too. Almost had the pit maneuver right there.
Yeah, the officer, the CHP officer is definitely aiming for that to bring this to an end, and that would hopefully bring it to an end quickly.
Definitely going at a higher rate of speed, and once again going through an intersection very dangerously against the lights, against traffic here, and we see some smoke now coming from the wheel well here of the left front tire, which is completely out.
I think we're ending this pretty soon.
And I'm surprised it's not smoking or catching on fire.
And we have a pit maneuver coming up here.
Yep, here it goes. And
this is in the Westchester area, and the car does spin out.
We knew that was going to happen.
He is out of the vehicle, hands up.
That was inevitable.
And there he goes. He's now complying with the orders of the officers to get on the ground, face down on the ground, guns drawn. The police now taking a look at inside the vehicle to see if there's anyone else left inside. But a quick end here to this pursuit, and it looks like this driver is going to be taken into custody pretty quickly here. But a pretty good textbook pit maneuver done there by the CHP, Dennis.
Well, ideal location. You don't have any parked cars. You don't have any pedestrians. Nice, clear roadway. So that was a perfect venue for that. And obviously the suspect didn't turn off the ignition, didn't put the car in park. So that car has some serious damage. And you know what? He knew how to surrender. He knew how to get on the ground. So I would bet that he's been
to this rodeo, Dennis?
He's been in the rodeo before.
Well, he listened very quickly. He wasn't listening, obviously, when they wanted to pull over, but when the push came to shove, the pit maneuver was deployed. Yeah. He got quickly out of his car, hands down, hands on the ground, and now they have in
And you know what?
custody.
At the end of the day, at least from what we've seen in the time that we've been covering this pursuit, it did not appear that anyone was hurt in this or that there were any accidents. Again, that will be at the end of the day when they are able to take a closer look to see what accidents may have been caused by this, or if there are any incidents as a result of this pursuit. They'll try to figure that out. But from our vantage point, from what we saw, a good job by the CHP and the other agencies that were involved in this, and it doesn't appear that anyone was injured in this pursuit.
I bet that got your heart rate up, Dennis.
How we end this, Megan and Bobby, is we say code 4, suspect in custody. Another fine conclusion.
Code 4, suspect in custody. All right, and that ended there in the Westchester area.
That went all over the South Bay, all over Inglewood,
onto the
Hawthorne.
freeways, onto surface streets. So it certainly was potentially a dangerous situation, one where police pulled back thinking that they were going to do a tracking mode, but that certainly didn't stop the driver. And now it ends with the suspect in custody there in Westchester. We'll have a full report this as soon as we get